Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel I like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today we're going to be checking out the new Glamlite Kiss collab palette. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. So when they sort of teased and sneak peeked this collection, I was not like super hype just because I am not a member of the Kiss Army. I'm not a member of our regular army, but I do own a camo shirt. So we're like halfway there, right? I was not super thrilled about the whole like Kiss concept, but I then saw the color story of the palette and I was like, wow, I do like the color story of the palette, so I did go ahead and pick this up, but I didn't pick up anything else from the collection because again, it wasn't the collab I was going after, it was the color story. So it does come in this like collector's box, which again, I don't really care about. Oh my gosh, and this palette is like super glued in here. What the hell? You need a Kiss Army to get it out of the box. This is what the actual palette looks like. So you can see the lenticular motion there, which is what that's called in case you didn't know. And then of course there is a mirror in the palette. And then they do have like all this artwork on the little sleeve. And then this is the actual color story. And the green, blue, purple, like very jewel toned, really deep shades, that definitely got me. So I want to do a look with this particular palette, maybe even two looks with this palette, because these are super pretty shades. And then we will probably do some swatches as well before we do final thoughts. So I did just put a light layer of the Devinah Prelusion Eye Primer on, which I have really been liking recently. And yeah, let's get cooking here. I'm gonna go in with Shock Me first, which is the top center kind of mid-toned blue. And I'm gonna go in with Dress to Kill. And a little bit of Lick It Up, which is the mid-toned green. Sorry if I keep going out of focus. And a little bit of fallout happening there. And then going into the lightest green called the Catman. Catman? Catman? I don't know. So try to zoom in a little bit, see if that helps avoid the autofocusing issues. But so far we have Shock Me and Dress to Kill on the outer corner, Lick It Up in the center, and the Catman in the inner third. And then I do want to add some of the metallics on here, so let's do that next. And I'm just using some of the Specular Eye Glitter Primer or Metallic Primer from Devinah. Going in with Magic Touch. So it's looking kind of like that. And then I'm gonna take some of the Dress to Kill, that navy blue shade. Definitely getting a lot of fallout. And this is the Shock Me shade. And then we'll go in with Alive, which is like the deep metallic green. And then I'll put a little bit of the Spaceman into the inner corner here. And so that's the first look. I just need to put on eyeliner and mascara. Let's do the second look here quick. Alright, so I'm going to use a little bit of Shout Out Loud. And we're going to do kind of similar placement, but with different colors. And I got a little bit of the Demon, which is the red. And I'm going to use Love It Loud, which is the deep maroon kind of burgundy shade. Then going back in with the Specular primer, and you can see, well, if I hold it right, you can see I don't use too much for each eye. And this is the shade Axe that we're going to use. That's like the smoky red. Ooh, I like that shade. It reminds me of the shade Dofa from the Smoky Glow palette in Midas Cosmetics. If you guys have been in makeup long enough to remember that. And then I'm going to go in with Firehouse. Then we'll go in with a little bit of Dynasty, which is the deep purple. And then I'll throw a little bit of Love Gun into this. And then the Spaceman again into the inner corner, because it's really the only inner corner shade we have in the palette. And that's look number 2. Let me get on some liner and mascara and then I'll be right back. So these are the finished looks. What do you guys think? I think we should get into some swatches quick and then we can come back and kind of talk about my full first impressions of the Glamlite and Kiss palette. Okay, and so now that you have seen the palette, the first 2 looks that I've done with the palette and swatches, let's go ahead and talk about this palette. I'm noticing something new with Glamlite where I feel like their metallics are getting a lot harder pressed. I'm not sure if that's a manufacturing difference, if they're doing it intentionally so they can keep these like embossings that are a little bit more like dynamic than their old palettes that just had like a pan. The mattes in here are great. They're nice and pigmented. They're buttery, good amount of fallout, so I would do your face last. But in general, I think they're the same kind of good quality that we expect from Glamlite. They're definitely very pigmented, so they don't swatch as well as they perform on the eyes. When I put them on my arm, I had to kind of go back and forth and really like swipe and blend them out a lot to kind of get the pigment to look even on my skin in the area that I swatched them. So that was kind of interesting. In terms of the metallics, like I said, I think they're pressed a little harder than normal, and I think that makes them lose some of that like shiny, sparkly, dynamic quality. Now, I still think the looks that I did are very pretty, but they start to almost look like just a more standard metallic than they do anything that's like really piecey and dimensional like we've seen in some of their other collections. So a comparison that I can give you is the Barbie palette, right? Because in these have almost like a spongy, gooey quality. Like you can literally push and indent and make them look different than what they used to. Now, like there, you see, I literally just made this indent with my finger very softly touching into the palette. Like look at these pigments, oh my gosh. That formula is not the same as this formula. This formula is definitely like more hard pressed. I feel I get a better payoff if I kind of like scrape it a little bit with a dense kind of flat shader brush to apply onto the lid rather than using my fingers. But I still think the colors are pretty. They sort of lose some of that dimensionality with this different application method, excuse me. In terms of the color story, I think the color story is really pretty. Greens, blues, purples, always my vibe. Red's not usually something that I care too much for, but I do like these really like smoky burgundy maroon shades. This shade in particular is kind of an amped up version of that Dofa shade from the Midas Cosmetics and Smoky Glow palette. As I said, very, very pretty shade. I do like that they have this one sort of iridescent blue to kind of pinky purple shade. but it's the only light shade in the palette, so it's your only inner corner option. If you want anything else, you're gonna have to go outside of this palette, which is kind of a drawback. But again, I think everything else in the palette is pretty nice. Overall, I think I paid like 36, I think. Let's check. Yeah, so the palette originally was 36, and I believe I had a discount code, and then I had to pay shipping because I didn't spend like a full $60 or $75 or whatever at Glamlite to get a free shipping. Overall, I think it's a nice palette. I think I would have been happier to get it on sale, like more of a sale, or if I had enough stuff to get free shipping, I would have felt a little bit better about it. But I do still think the looks that I made were really pretty. They came together pretty decently. I don't think I would do a ton to sort of like amp them up beyond what they're looking like right now, although I would definitely incorporate some loose pigments, maybe iridescence, up above my lid on either side. So you're gonna have to let me know in a comment down below. What do you think of the palette? What do you think of the eye looks? Is this something you're gonna pick it up? Did you pick it up already? I would definitely like to know. Which of the two eye looks do you like better? Are you more like blue side or more red purple side? I'm curious. I think I'm partial to the blue, but I'm always partial to blue. Alright, and with that said, that is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!